All right, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be about why I'm against abortion from a constitutional standpoint, okay? And this video probably won't be as long as my last one, as the one about the science behind it all, okay? But there's no guarantees. We'll have to wait and see how long this one ends up being, okay? But it is important to know where we stand on the issue from a legal or a constitutional standpoint. After all, what does the Constitution say about abortion or about the intentional killing of children within the womb? Okay, what does it say about protecting these innocents? Okay, we need to know these things. Okay, when abortion is held under the spotlight of the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution, what do we see? Okay, should it be the way people see it these days? A lot of people think it should be up to the states to decide, each state picking for themselves amongst the voters. Is that really the way the founding fathers intended? And is that really the way it should be anyways? Okay, that's what we're going to be discussing today. Why I'm against abortion from a constitutional perspective. Okay, now to get started, let's go back a little bit in time through history. Okay, you see, prior to the Constitution, we didn't even have a nation yet. Okay, I'm sure you're all aware of this, but just stick with me. Okay, the colonists, they were unhappy with King George. They were unhappy with the British government ruling over them. Okay, and they had a lot of different reasons. There was taxation without representation. There was quartering of British troops inside the homes of the colonials. Okay, that was just a couple things that you could Google it yourself. You'll see several reasons why they were unhappy with the way things were going. Okay, but the colonists claimed in the Declaration of Independence that this was a long train of abuses. This wasn't a short thing. This had been going on for some time. Okay, and so on the 4th of July of 1776, okay, just like we celebrate on Independence Day. And real quick, if you heard that noise, the neighbor's doing target practice. So we're all safe here. No worries. Just ignore that. Okay. But on 4th of July of 1776, the Declaration of Independence was adopted. Okay. It was a formal announcement of the colony's decision to separate from British rule. But in that declaration, part of the text says this. It says, quote, "We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, okay, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Okay, so it says all men, which of course that was supposed to mean all men, women, children, they're all created equal. Okay, they all have the right to life, which is one of the key things that they mention in there. Now, of course, some people who believed in that, some people who said they believed in that, of course, they were hypocrites. We know that. We can look back through history and see that, right? They didn't really believe that all people were created equal. After all, they supported the enslavement of blacks who were working on their farms, who were working out in their fields, and so forth, okay? So they really didn't believe in it. And just as there are abolitionists today, abolitionists like myself who speak out against abortion, there were also abolitionists back then who spoke out against the cruelty of slavery and about the cruelty of the institution itself, okay? So my point in bringing up the Declaration of Independence is that even from our very beginning, from the writings of our founding fathers, they spoke of true equality, of rights themselves, which come not from the government, but from God himself, from our Creator is what they said. And yes, I know, you're probably thinking the Declaration of Independence is not the Constitution. Yes, you're right. I understand that, okay? I'm just laying out some framework real quick. Now, obviously, this country is not under British rule anymore. The British Crown has no authority over us. And that's a great thing because I like American food. Beans and toast, I'm not sure if you've seen that nonsense, but that's not very appealing to me and probably not to you either, okay? I'm very happy that I get to eat American food, okay? But anyways, as we know, America won the Revolutionary War. We sent those redcoats packing back across the pond, okay? And we have our own nation. But eventually in 1788, okay, the U.S. Constitution was finally ratified, okay? Now, it wouldn't be till a few years later in 1791 that the Fifth Amendment was ratified, okay? And within that amendment, here's part of the text. Here's what it says. It says, "No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law." Life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Okay, we're going to come back to that in a minute. That was the Fifth Amendment. Okay, you can Google the whole thing if you want later. Okay, but almost 80 years later, after that was written and ratified, after the Civil War ended, we know that the 14th Amendment to the Constitution was also ratified. And this took place in 1868. Okay, and here's what part of that amendment says. It reads, "Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws." Okay, so why am I against abortion from a constitutional standpoint? Well, because from the clear reading of the 5th and 14th Amendments, they both clearly state that no person shall be deprived of life without due process of law. Okay, the 14th Amendment in particular, that one says that all people, or all persons is what it says, they should receive equal protection of the law. So there it is in black and white. Okay, I'm not sure how much more clear it could be. Okay, now, pro-choicers, or those who support abortion, they will always try to explain this away. They'll try to explain away the term person by making nonsensical claims. Okay, they'll say that the baby isn't really a person. Instead, they'll call it a fetus, a blob of cells, or a parasite even. They use all sorts of dehumanizing terms. Okay, I've heard it all. The arguments they use are similar to those which people used against blacks towards the slaves in the 19th century. Okay, they're not really people. They're my property. They're my they're not the same as a white person. And even when they gave them a right to vote, what did they do? They treated them like they were 3/5 of a person. Okay, so very dehumanizing culture. Okay, and Hitler and company, they used the same dehumanizing attacks against the Jewish people. Okay, they called them vermin. They called them asocials. They were their racial enemies. Okay, they said all these things. They painted them as these villains within their society, and they did it all to the point where it was acceptable to kill them. Okay, everyone turned a blind eye to what was going on there. Just like babies here in America, babies who dare to be conceived through no fault of their own, they are simply existing where they're supposed to be because two adults took place, had sex, whether it was consensual or not, but that baby had no choice in the matter. They are there where they're supposed to be, growing in the womb. And it's sad, really, that we've gotten to the point in time where babies are seen as a problem that needs to be eliminated. No, babies, kids in general, they are a blessing from God, okay? And anybody that views it any other way, it's crazy. It's hard to believe we've gotten to that place in a society where we view things that way. Okay, but back to the point of this video. Both the 5th and the 14th Amendments, they make frequent mention of the term persons. Okay, persons. Okay, so what is a person? Well, you and I know good and well what a person is. And Webster's Dictionary, it defines it as a human or as an individual. Those are the top two definitions. Okay, so that's me, that's you, that's every member of the human race. They're a member of the Homo sapiens species, right? Okay, so are babies persons? Absolutely. Okay, they're human beings just like you and me. Okay, but pro-choicers don't want to acknowledge that because then they'd have to take some responsibility for their lives and for their actions. There wouldn't be this free sex on demand with zero consequences where they can just go to the abortion clinic and get rid of the consequences of their unrestrained behavior. Okay, then they'd have to admit that they are selfish murderers who will kill a human life just because they don't want to spend the money to take care of them, just because they don't want to inconvenience their schooling, their careers, or whatever it may be. Okay, there's all these lame excuses they come up with. So instead, they dehumanize these innocent children. Okay, they'll call them just a clump of cells, a parasite, or just a fetus. Okay, which actually means offspring in Latin. Okay, so it's really not an insult or a gotcha moment. They might think it is, but it's not. When properly applied and interpreted, the Constitution supports the right to life. Okay, it should not be up to each state to decide. No, we have it clearly written in the 5th and the 14th Amendments that no state shall deny to any person the right to life, liberty, or property without due process of the law. Okay, we should all have equal protection under the laws. And that is why I'm against abortion from a constitutional from a constitutional perspective. Okay, and it's not just because it's my ideas, but it's because it's in the Constitution. Okay, so I'm against it, but you should be too. Okay, take the time, look through the 5th Amendment, the 14th Amendments, read it for yourself, use your common sense and logic. I know you all have it. You know what a person is deep down. You know that what's growing in the womb is a human being. It's a human, okay? It is a person. So, anyways, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I did it outside today, so hopefully the background noise wasn't too much. It is a little windy. That guy's got his target practice going on. Not sure what he's shooting at, but it's not me, so life is good, right? Okay, want to make another quick plug. I've said it before in another video. If you want some cool merchandise, anti-abortion or abolishing human abortion merchandise, hit up abolitionistrising.com. They got a lot of great stuff there. You can support a great cause by giving money, but you get some great stuff in the process. and you can show everybody what you believe and what you think about abortion, okay? All right, well, if you liked the video, if it made any sense to you, please hit that like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Until next time, you all take care. See ya.